Welcome back to my channel, Dr. Koya Ebasi. In this video now, we are going to look at some of the benefits of resource control. Now, the number one benefit that we will derive from resource control is that there will be increase in revenue. Now, there is a lot of wastage with this present system. All the concentration is on oil. Meanwhile, Nigeria has several other potentials. We have mineral resources like gold, tin, we have iron ore, we have coal. Several other resources are so available in this country that the federal government is not looking in that direction at all. These resources are resources that are enough to support the oil and make Nigeria develop very fast, meet up our infrastructural needs, meet up our health needs, and so on and so forth. But because government is not looking in this direction, there is a lot of wastage. Now, under resource control, states will harness these resources to boost their economy, increase their internally generated revenue, and pay taxes to the federal government. So at the end of the day, you find out that even the federal government will make more money, states will make more money, because all these wastages will be blocked. So, in actual fact, under resource control, the nation will actually make more money. And then the sharing will be in such a way that the states will keep their own, and then the federal government will keep their own, use their own taxes for their own operations. Another advantage of resource control is that it will reduce banditry and militancy and insecurity. Because, take for example, militancy in the Niger Delta. You see, we find a situation where this militancy is taking place in the creeks, where oil operations are going on. Now, if the states and the local governments and maybe the communities are in charge of their security of their oil facilities, nobody will allow anybody to come from outside to come and vandalize their oil installations, because they know that that is where their resources are coming from. That is where they will get money for development. That is where they will get money to do all the things they want to do. So communities will take charge and will take ownership of some of these oil facilities and ensure that nobody encroaches it. And then you will see that militancy will die a natural death. Now, banditry, if you look at banditry, you find out that it's either they are arguing and in control of mineral resources in the north, certain areas where gold are being mined, and this banditry is so strong in such a way that even government forces cannot go close to those areas. Why is it all the banditry? They are guiding all their operations in these areas where they mine these mineral resources like gold and others, so that people will not come and disturb their operations. Now, if such areas are under the control of the states, and the states know that these areas are the areas where they are going to use to generate their own money, states will not allow, with state police and all that, they will not allow banditry to be in control of these resources. Definitely, the states will take over the mining of their resources and ensure that these resources generate income to the federal government and the state government. So one, it will help us to reduce banditry, militancy, and then insecurity. The other aspects of insecurity is on land grabbing, cattle rustling, and all that. When farmers know that, when the state knows that maybe their own is to farm, and through their farming, that is where they will generate their money, they will do everything to protect their land resources and ensure that farmers go to work. Because if farmers don't go to work, they will not generate money to pay salaries and do other development projects. So actually, resource control is one way that will be able to help us curb all these criminalities. Another thing that the resource control will help us do is that the resource control will minimize corruption. Because corruption is one of the major problems in Nigeria today. And you cannot even blame them. When you sell the oil money, you put it in a purse and you give it for a certain group of people to manage it. It will be very difficult for prudent management. But if, for example, now the community is the one that is in charge of their oil installations, their oil wells, they know how much oil is coming out, after which they are paying either to the local government, to state, or to the federal government, and they know how much the community is getting. It will be very difficult for anybody to steal, because everybody will know how much is coming in and what the money is being used for. So it will reduce corruption to the barest minimum. So you cannot imagine the advantages of restructuring, that the APC government decided to dump it, and every day we are crying of corruption. There will not continue to be corruption with this present system of the present system that which we are operating. Let us copy, when we copy the presidential system of government, we didn't copy how it is practiced in other parts of the world. We just copied the system, and then we came here to do a different thing. So if we really want to stamp out corruption, then resource control or true federalism should be the answer, or restructuring is the answer. Another thing that the resource control will help us do is that it will help us diversify the economy. Now, for those states, for example, that do not have mineral resources, now they can now go into agriculture, because agriculture can actually generate more money than the oil. Many other nations of the world are dependent on agriculture for their foreign exchange and all the money they generate. And if such nations are surviving with agriculture, I see no reason why Nigeria cannot survive on agriculture. But all our concentration is on the oil. Now the money that the oil is generating is not even enough to meet up all our infrastructural needs, to meet up our development needs, yet we are not looking at other aspects of the economy. Agriculture is another area that can generate enough money to support the oil money, so that Nigeria, the nation, will now have enough money to meet up their infrastructural needs instead of going to borrow. So resource control is one way that will help us diversify this economy, because states that do not have mineral resources will now begin to tap their agricultural potentials and generate money for themselves, and then also for the federal government. Another thing that resource control will help us do is that it will now reduce the cost of governance. Because every time we are talking about the cost of governance, the running cost, overhead cost, in this nation, the overhead cost is so large that there is need to look at it to ensure that the overhead cost is reduced. How will restructuring reduce the overhead cost? Now, if we restructure and the states are in charge and in control of their own resources and paying taxes to the federal government, there will be no need for most of the ministries that we have at the federal level: Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Works, Ministry of this, Ministry of that. There will be no need for all those ministries, but those ministries will only exist in the states, and therefore all the numerous employment that are at the federal level now will no longer be there. So if the salaries, the wage bill of the federal government is reduced in such a way that they do away with a greater percentage of salaries and wages, and then they concentrate on just few infrastructural development and operations, you will find out that there will be enough money to do so many things, and money to support states that do not have mineral resources to develop their agricultural sector. So you can find out that the advantages of resource control or restructuring is so enormous and so numerous that it's not a report that should just be jettisoned or dumped. I don't know the reason why they don't want to implement that report. They need to go back and look at that report. Any government that is coming on, apart from this APC government, should need to look at that report if we really want to develop. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel, share these videos, and make your comment. Thank you.